Since people have been asking for it in the comments, I'm just going to go ahead and redo the build in this, this format because it's quicker. So, combat knife plasma gun is definitely the best way to play veteran now. It arguably was before, but it definitely is now. So, let me just talk about the power sword real quick. The power sword is kind of shit with this setup for the simple fact that you don't have really any of the veteran skill tree to support it when you're using the plasma gun. And the plasma gun is just objectively better than the power sword at everything. It does more damage. It clears hordes faster unless they like concave super hard left, right. But if you hold them in a dense spot like front to back, then the power sword is just objectively better in every way. So the combat knife is like another S tier melee weapon, just like it. So, you're dealing with like a melee weapon that's arguably just as good as the power sword. Now, you're mostly using it for its mobility though, and its ability to clear hordes, which it's fucking fantastic at. So, as for your rolls, let me talk about this. Flesh Tear is always better than Lacerate. Let me just go on this real quick mini rant. Lacerate sucks. 4 bleed stacks on non-weak spot hits. The knife has finesse damage stats, so you always want to be going for weak spot hits. Flesh Terror gives you max bleed stacks in a single hit as long as it's a crit, and you should be getting a crit every time. You get 5%. The knife is like 10% default crit chance. The veteran has 5% default crit chance. So this 5%, you're at 20. This 20%, you're at 40. Then you get this 25%, you're at 65. Then this is 75. You have effectively 75% critical chance with the knife. If you're not, you will be critting every 2 hits, virtually guaranteed with this weapon. So you hit once to the head, it crits, it applies all bleed stacks. That's good enough to kill most trash mobs on tier 5. Right, so the plasma gun. Carapace Flak is my go-to. You can give up Carapace if you don't care about crushers and you'd rather have Unyielding. Personally, I have 2 of these. I have one built exactly like this and another one built exactly like this, but with Unyielding instead of Carapace for bosses. If I'm doing a 3-veg, which is going to spawn like 6-7 bosses a run, I'll swap to that. If I'm not doing that, I'll stick to this. But the plasma gun is insane. It is S+ tier horde clear, S+ tier single target damage. It does it all from a safe range, and the veteran skill tree supports it to an insane degree. That's the biggest reason you're not using the power sword, by the way, is you just don't have much support from the veteran tree. Okay, as far as curios, CDR is the best stat in the game. It was the best stat in Vermintide. It's the best stat here. If you don't understand why or you disagree, you just aren't experienced enough with the game. I mean, I'm sorry. I know it sounds like a douchey thing to say, but it's just true. Like, I understand why you would think something like gunner damage resistance is good, but when you start seriously optimizing the game, there's just literally no need for it, and using your ultimate more ends up being way stronger. Sprint efficiency and stamina regen is purely because if you've ever been in a clutch situation, running out of stamina is the only surefire way you die. Stamina affects just about everything you do in the game in some capacity. Even if it's just the mind game of, can I get far enough away to pull out the plasma gun and start shooting? No, I don't have enough stamina to sprint far enough away. Okay, now let's talk about the actual build. Okay, so these 2 nodes are optional. If you're going to reload cancel the plasma gun, which is where you start sprinting at 3 points within the reload to make it quicker, if you're going to do that, you don't need this. And this is just free bonus damage for like bosses, but you can absolutely use the plasma gun without these 2 nodes with no reload cancel. It'll still be like S+ tier best gun in the game. Okay, you never take crack grenades just ever because they're bad, but also, why would you ever take crack grenades and plasma gun in the same build? Anyone who does that has not thought about it very much. The plasma gun specializes in single target damage, and crack grenades can only deal single target damage. Having the stun utility of the frag grenades is so much more valuable when you're comboing it with a single target gun. I like get back in the fight, but they got rid of the stun on gunners. Let's put it this way. If you're playing in a patch where gunners can stun you, then get back in the fight is honestly not that bad. If you're playing in a patch where gunners aren't stunning you or slowing you down, Catch a Breath is pretty good. Survivalist is the best aura in the game still, even after the nerf. Oh, also, the reason why we don't go like this, 5% health versus +1 stamina. +1 stamina brick is actually a really big deal, especially if you're going to run any kind of stamina efficiency, because that makes each each flat point of stamina is increased by that percent. So if you've got 15, 30, 45% sprint efficiency, this is effectively a bar and a half of stamina. Then you have the knife, which is the best sprinting weapon, and your speed with the charge sprint. This one stamina rapidly turns into like 2 bars of stamina. Like effective usable stamina. Okay, so Field Improv is one of the best nodes in the game, and if you're going to get rid of these 2 nodes, you take Field Improv and Demo Team, and you use that to spam Shredders as your big AoE, and then you stick to the Plasma Gun. You use the knife to reposition, the Plasma Gun for any kind of big clearing scenario where you have to deal a lot of damage, and then you just use grenades for everything else. Okay, now, Voice of Command is the best ultimate. Never ever take only in Death Does Duty End. This is giving up a skill point to make your ultimate worse. Okay, so let's talk about down here, because there's a few ways you can go about doing this. I think Focus Target is the best way to build the Plasma Gun. So you don't need suppression immunity, it's the Plasma Gun. If suppression is a problem for you here, then I don't know what to tell you. Your aim is really not great. And Deadshot just doesn't like combo with this weapon well at all. Precision Strikes is basically mandatory in every vet build. If you see a vet build without this, you probably don't have to listen to what they have to say. Fully Loaded is the same thing as Precision Strikes because it combos with Survivalist and it combos with your ammo pickups. That's how vet is so ammo efficient. Superiority Complex is exactly that, just Superiority Complex. These 3 nodes make up the baseline of just about every veteran build because these 3 nodes single-handedly, they effectively increase the usability of guns by like 50-60%, because having more base ammo means you pick up more ammo and you generate more ammo with Survivalist. Having 30% more flat damage, because you should basically always be hitting weak spots if you're using the meta guns, that is, because it's really easy to do that with them. Again, so this is just 45% increased damage, which is absolutely insane. So you're spending almost half as much ammo as every other class to kill everything, and you're getting and picking up more ammo. That's why the veteran is so good. Okay, so Born Leader is actually pretty good now that they fixed most of the bugs with it. I mean, it's just, there's nothing else to say. It's just pretty strong. Definitely better than 5 seconds of 10% damage. I used to take this on all my builds because it also gives it to coherency allies. So it's a big damage spike with how much you're using ultimates. But for most people, this is going to win you more runs than this. If you're playing in an optimized team, though, swap this for this. And you don't need this. You do not need suppression with the Plasma Gun at all. It can be nice, one shot instantly stopping gunners, but it's just unneeded. Tactical Awareness. As long as you're playing with a good Psyker, a Psyker who knows what they're doing and taking Seer's Presence and Seer's Aura, or I'm sorry, Psykinetics Aura and Seer's Presence, when you have that plus Tactical Awareness plus because look, with Seer's Presence, Psykinetics Aura, and all this CDR, you shoot one Plasma Gun shot through like 2 or 3 Ragers, that automatically takes your Voice of Command from 30 seconds, I'm literally not kidding here, down to about 3 seconds. So you can VOC, shoot once, VOC, shoot once, VOC. And remember, Gold Toughness is one of the most overpowered things in the game. Iron Will is why some veterans mistakenly go toughness, toughness, toughness. You don't need like 200-300 toughness. You just don't. Especially when you have VOC and, where is it? Where is it? It's like up here. Right here, confirmed kill. Especially on Auric Maelstrom, you shoot somebody like once and there you go. Competitive Urge is incredibly strong, and I want to talk about it for a little bit. So, 20% base damage plus impact and suppression. So this is really good. Part of the reason why you don't need Keep Their Heads Down is because of Competitive Urge. Okay, first off, Rending Strikes is terrible. This is a garbage tier node. This node sucks, and I've been trying to do this less, but I have to do it for this one. If you think this node is good, like I can actually be a little bit nice here. If you are going to argue that this node is good on basically any build except for maybe the Revolver, then you are dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. 10% rending is literal garbage. It literally does nothing. If you're using any weapon that isn't the Revolver, Onslaught exists, and this is 40% brittleness. So this is 40% rending for your entire team. Yeah, 10% rending on its own helps 0 weapons hit 0 breakpoints. This node is terrible. Same thing with where is it with this. Rending doesn't do what you think it does. Rending is a terrible stat unless you have a lot of it, or unless your weapon attacks really quickly, and even then you still need a lot of it, because 10% reduction to the effective carapace armor on something like a columnus is virtually no damage, whereas a 40% increase is a fuck ton of damage increase. Go try it in the Psychanium if you're going to argue with me. Just try it first, then come back, and you'll say, oh wow, that guy was right. Bring It Down is too specific and niche to really be useful, because Competitive Urge gives the exact same damage bonus but to everything for all of your attacks. So 2.5% chance for 8 seconds whenever an ally kills an enemy. Now this does suck because it kind of punishes you for just going ham and being the best player, but still, even in lobbies where I'm playing with pubs, my teammates are still gonna get probably like 1,700 kills. So, you know, you only need like 30-40 kills on average to proc this. Auric Maelstrom hordes have like 100 guys in them. You'll be procking this like 2-3 times, sometimes 4 or 5 times, like realistically, on a horde like that. And focus target is generally the best for the plasma gun because it just doubles down on what it's good for. And redirect fire is just a huge damage boost for your whole team. You take these for the knife. Also, this applies to the plasma gun. So you will have times where you shoot the plasma gun, pull out the knife to fight a horde, dodge around, then pull back to the plasma gun. You'll be at like 37% gets hot range. So it's like, you know, you have 10% is like the veteran. So you're at like 47% base crit chance. Then you have reciprocity active. This goes up to like 60% crit chance. Then you just click, 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 and it's like 3 crits in a row. And you're like, holy fuck, I just killed everything. And Desperado is just that. 25% finesse bonus. Finesse increases your headshot damage and your critical damage, and yes, your critical headshot damage. So it's increasing 2 sources of damage that stack with one another. So this is far more than a 25%, you know, finesse increase. Let's say you headshot for 100 damage. Or let's say you critical headshot for like 200 damage. With this node, you're going to critical headshot for like 240, sometimes like 260. Like it's crazy just how much value this adds, assuming you get those critical headshots. And that's partly why you don't ever want to use Lacerate, because Flesh Tear gives you 2 hits of Lacerate for 1 hit and on headshot. But yeah, this is like your de facto best veteran build in the entire game right now.